Next slide, please. Next slide, please, Leia. Okay. Our first speaker, we deliberate in planning. Level speech project. The objective is a club structure of a public, yes? Okay. Vision in life. Time limit 4 to 6 minutes. Her evaluator is immediate past area director Leia Katapia. Let's give it up for Heather Della Vega.
Hello everyone, am I coming in loud and clear? Can you guys hear me? Audio's good? Okay. Thanks. I assume we were all asked this question when we were a child. What do you want to be when you grow up? The typical answer would be, I want to be a doctor so that I can help save lives. Or, I want to be an astronaut and fly to outer space. When I was 5 years old, I was also asked this question. And this was the moment I knew I was in for a great ride. With confidence, I said, I want to be a dancing traffic enforcer. You see, 10 to 15 years ago, dancing traffic enforcers were a thing. And the first time I saw one, I was completely in love with it. So in love that I wanted to pursue it as a career. So when I was 5 years old, my dad enrolled me in Tolentino's dance workshop. So every week I would go there and dance like there was no tomorrow. When I entered grade school, I joined our cheer dance team. I was so hyped about dancing that I thought of it as a career. My friend, on the other hand, thought it was a horrible idea. So she was like, Heather, dancing isn't just for you. Maybe you look cute when you were a kid, but you're not a kid anymore. No, I'm sorry, you just don't have the moves. That time, I was so heartbroken. A year later, I had the chance to live with my grandparents. And you see, the thing about living with elderly people is that they tend to nag and be demanding when it comes to household chores, especially lolas. So, for example, I'll be in my room playing with my phone, and she'd go like, Heather, help me out with the dishes. Why aren't you helping your lola? I don't have much time to live, and I want to retire. And yet, you're letting me do all the work. Blah, blah, blah. So, as a good granddaughter that I am, I would usually help her out with preparing the meals, such as chopping the garlic, sauteing the onions. And I didn't realize that I was actually into cooking. And at that time, I was also fortunate that my aunt was studying in culinary school. So she would teach me a few tips and tricks in the kitchen. And my favorite dish to prepare is pasta. So whenever I would cook it for my dad, his initial reaction would be, Heather, this is so good. This looks like something Gordon Ramsay would serve to his customers. So I don't know if my dad's just really saying it to make me feel good or he really likes my cooking. I was so passionate about it that I had my whole life planned out. And we had this career speech in school, and I had this favorite line, and I quote, when I go to college, I will study in the best culinary school in the Philippines. When I turn 20, I will spend my OJT in top hotels and restaurants. When I turn 30, I would have already opened 3 5-star hotels. When I turn 40, I would have my own cooking channel. And when I turn 50, I would have my own cooking school, Chef Heather's International School for Culinary Arts. I felt so happy for myself because it was something I believe I was good at and what other people would preach me for. But as usual, there'll always be that one person who would ruin it. I had a friend and she asked me if I was really sure about becoming a chef. She was like, you know what, Heather, you're smart and all, and why not use your wit for a different course that will soon result to greener pastures? Then it hit me. Makes sense. So back to the drawing board. Then I thought, what would be a nice career that pays good money? Then I said, why not run a business? It was summer of 2014 where my grandmother convinced me to put up a halo-halo stand in our subdivision. And it was a hit. The following summer, I decided to do it again, but try a different product, which was churros. And it was also a hit. I made a whopping 2,000 pesos with only one customer, and guess who it was? Yup, my dad. He was my only customer. The thing with this career path was, even though I had to deal with challenges, I still kept pushing forward. With my love for business and numbers, I am currently an incoming third-year student in accountancy and internal audit of San Beda, Manila. And with God's grace, I hope to become a successful entrepreneur and become a leader with the help of Toastmasters. I may not be a dancing traffic enforcer one day, but you surely will see me on TikTok with my dance moves. When it comes to becoming a world-renowned chef, I would still make sure that my cooking would still taste as good as how Gordon Ramsay does it. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, when was the last time you were asked what you wanted to be when you grow up? Was your answer the same with your career path at the moment? If yes, I admire how you were able to be determined with your goals. If not, what happened? Were there challenges that prevented you to pursue that career? Or maybe it was a window of opportunities for something much bigger. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Toastmaster Heather. Oh my gosh, I had no idea I was that big an influence with those churros. Well, you know what, Toastmaster friends? Heather is an expert when it comes to cooking. Not because I know her very well, but I've tried her cooking. Lately, she cooked salmon steak for me, and my gosh, I really fell in love with it. All right. Let's give another round of applause to Heather. Thank you, Heather. Hey. We now move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker will deliver from the effective coaching path. Level 1, the icebreaker as well. She will introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Here with her presentation entitled The Champion. The time limit is 4 to 6 minutes to be evaluated by past club president Nitu Chada. Let's give it up for Toastmaster Inah Tolentino.
Can you hear me? Well, can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
All right.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. It was 2017. Toastmasters International, District 75, Division H, champion for both international speech and table topics categories, no other than yours truly, Inah Tolentino. Could you give me an applause, please? I beg you. Thank you. Thank you, fans. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any idea how mortified I feel whenever I am introduced with this accolade? I am so embarrassed because, to be honest, I was not able to compete on the district championship of that year. Perhaps it's to my foible, but I chose a new career path over vying for my district championship. And it actually really made me feel bad because I felt like I let down a lot of people and disappointed people who were rooting for me and who helped me in my journey. Moreover, whenever I am recognized with that accolade, I feel like people would have certain expectations of me, expectations that are sometimes just impossible to meet. Maybe it's just me, but it causes me to feel afraid, afraid to fail. I had not been a Toastmaster in a while, and so I feel out of my element. But now I'm back, not from outer space, but I'm here, and I am back for three main reasons. My first reason is that I want to be the best version of myself. The only way I can do that is to enhance my communication and presentation skills because these are integral to my career as a trainer and also as a teacher. Second, I want to redeem myself. I had always wondered, had I made it to the district championship, how would I have fared? And I want to know how far I can push myself this time. The only difference is, this time around, I am more determined to find out the answer to that question. Third, and perhaps the most important reason, I simply want to come home to Toastmasters. It is hard to find people as weird as myself. Imagine, we spend Saturday afternoons preparing and delivering speeches, being critiqued, being given feedback to, whilst everyone else is having a good time at home, relaxing. Aren't we all weird? And it's hard to find people like that. Hence, I want to come home to that. So I stand before you today. Still, it's me, Inah Tolentino, but I am in no way or form a champion. I am simply delivering my first speech, an icebreaker at that, to give you an idea of who I am and why I'm here. But prophetically, this simple act of delivering again a first speech is opening new doors for me. It's a door that could give me an answer to my questions from the past. It's a door for a fresh start. But more than anything, it is a door that leads to home. My dear fellow Toastmasters, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you all for welcoming me back to this club. In truth, you for me are the real champions and you deserve all the applause. Have a good day.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Toastmaster Inah. You know what? I remember that year, 2017. I was the division director at that time when Inah won. And you know, I was so excited for Inah. And I was telling everyone, you know what, you wait till gonna make it to the
Aw.
top three. And then, well, anyway, Inah, you are going to go far. We're going to develop your skills. When the contest comes, boy, you will be a force to be reckoned with. Applause to Inah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. And we now move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker will also deliver an icebreaker speech. This time, I'm sorry. Uh, all right. Are we done? Is it, did I get that right? Pathways.
Sir, I think it's supposed
Yeah, I think I got mixed up, but it's supposed to be.
an icebreaker speech po instead of dynamic leadership level 3.
Okay. Yes, an icebreaker, and this will be delivered by who's going to be the evaluator? Is it Myro?
Yes, yes.
Assigned evaluate. Okay. And to deliver his speech, 40 minutes. NJ Celis.
There is a story common among Filipinos as a story told by the national hero Dr. Jose Rizal. It is the story of the moth and the flame. Now, I am aware that some of us here are not Filipinos and therefore are not aware of the story, and therefore I shall tell the story for everyone's benefit. The Moth and the Flame is a story about a moth that at night is attracted to a bright lamp that is powered with gas or wax, and it emits a strong flame, a bright flame. The story here is the moth is attracted to the fire, as the story said. The moth is attracted to this warm, bright light. And the moth keeps approaching and keeps approaching and won't stop. The closer the moth is, the warmer the light gets. And eventually, warmth turns into blazing heat. But by that time, it's too late for the moth. For the moth is now too close, and its wings are catching fire, and there is no way to escape burning to death. That is the story of the moth and the flame. It is said to be told by Dr. Jose Rizal. Now, what does that have to do with my icebreaker? I do not claim, first of all, I do not claim to be equal to Dr. Jose Rizal. That is one thing I will not claim. But the story of the moth and the flame somewhat strikes a chord in my heart. It strikes a note in my spirit, especially when I remember every foible I have committed in my life. In many ways, I am the moth. I am a risk taker. I am curious. I want to know. I want to discover. It is natural in me to do something that many people tell me not to do. And of course, this has led to more than one foible that I have experienced. And sad to say, it's not just me who has suffered the consequences, but also my friends and even my family. And I have learned my lessons with regards to that. However, that curious spirit in me has never left. It is still here, pulsating in my heart. But it doesn't end with the moth. It goes to the flame. In many ways, I am also the flame. I am passionate and intense. When I want something, and I truly do want something, the motivation I have can be overpowering to the point that I can become reckless. And again, I've learned my wisdom with regards to this. I am not just moth, I am also flame. But is there another element to this story? There is. I am also the story. Who I am, what I believe in, how I see the world is formed from the multiple stories I have from what I have experienced in my life. Of course, I am still quite young and I have still a lot to experience and to learn. But there is something that the story doesn't tell that I may add. We are not moths that will simply die when we approach the flame. We have a human spirit that can be reborn after it is broken by an experience. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I am NJ Celies, a very curious intellectual who is passionate about what he believes in and seeks to create stories about myself and about the world that I can share not just to my friends at present, but to the oncoming future generations. Thank you. I am glad to be back. Good afternoon.
Yay. Thank you very much, NJ. You know what, NJ, hearing the story about the moth and the flame, grade school, that was part of the required reading in when I was studying in LaSalle. And I'll never forget that because after that was so it just forgive bringing back happy memories. Round of applause. Thank you.